Yeah, I'm pleased with our performance today. Our kids, in particular, the way they, you know, went out and played fast. We didn't play with a lot of hesitancy, and that was really what we were looking for today. Is play to their athletic abilities and not let thinking get too involved in what they were doing today. And I know that sounds counterintuitive of what the game is about, but I wanted our guys to play fast today. Don't get out there and try to think too much. Rely on their instincts, rely on their techniques, and go play fast. And I thought they did that. I was really proud of their performance in that respect. It was pretty clean, too. Only 2 penalties on the offensive side of the ball. And defensively, very clean as a team. Only 2 penalties in an opener. Didn't turn the football over. Pretty good balance. There's things that we've got to get better at, obviously. Our communication and the back end of our defense was at times a problem, which resulted in some big plays. But we had great communication. Joe Schmidt does a great job of communicating. He's an extension of Coach Van Gorder on the field, so it was great to see Joe. He did a great job there. Obviously the story, Everett Golson was electric. He kept his eyes downfield, knew when to run, knew when to throw it. And those are things that, we really talked about. We didn't want to overcoach him, and that we were going to allow him today to get outside the pocket and be a football player and just naturally go play the game. And I thought he did that today extraordinarily well. And he came back today, and I think really showed the kind of player that he can be. So with that, we'll open up to questions.
Brian, did your defense surprise you at all, or is this the kind of thing that you expected from them?
Well, I thought that we, as we progressed into camp and had settled into the past week or so, I liked the physical play of our front four: Romeo, Trombetti, Isaac Rochelle has been extremely physical and difficult to move with our offensive line. And, of course, we know Sheldon Day and Jerron Jones. I just really thought that we were going to be able to hold up very well. And Joe Schmidt was, with Jalen, were outstanding. So, you've got those 6 guys. If they can hold up against the run, we're going to be in pretty good shape. And I thought that was going to be the case, and it ended up being today.
What ended up happening with Collinsworth, and how long is he out, do you expect?
Yeah, we were in a 2-minute drill on Thursday, and we threw a ball in the end zone, and 2 guys went up for it, and he came down awkwardly. He played the next play, and it just tightened up on him. He's got a grade 2 ligament, and so MCL. So those are usually 2 to 4 weeks, depending on how guys respond. So we don't expect to have him this week. There's a chance we could have him for week 3, but that's, again, he had a PRP treatment on the weekend. So we'll see what happens. But it's we're hopeful 3 weeks, but it could be Purdue. It could be a bye week. Then we get the bye week, so we'll definitely get him back for the Syracuse game.
May not be something you're thinking about in the heat of battle, but how did you feel about the way the field turf played today, especially when you got a little burst of moisture?
Yeah, you could see us make some definitive cuts out there today, especially in punt return and our special teams game. Cody Riggs was able to stick his foot in the ground and get north and south. Greg Bryant was able to do that. I thought that made, some significant moves for our guys, the ability to cut, and I thought it was, for us, a really good surface to play on.
Coach, right here. Freshman Drew Tranquil got a good number of reps, both in special teams and regular. Talk a little bit about what you've seen from him in camp and why you felt so confident in using him today.
Well, he's a physically strong, conditioned athlete. So he's physically beyond his years, conditioned-wise, and he carries himself, not like a freshman. He's just a highly conditioned athlete and physically strong that he can compete. His is just the learning curve of the game and the speed of the game. But we'll get him ready, and he'll continue to play more and more football. Solid tackler. I thought we did a really good job tackling today too. Because that's one of the things that, you're just with all the concerns with head injuries and. You don't tackle quite as much, and I thought our guys did a great job tackling today, and he's a very good tackler.
Coach, you mentioned electric with Everett. How impressed were you to see him perform the way he did today after missing all of last season?
Oh, I was just happy, to see him have success. He had a great confidence about him. For the last 4 or 5 days, he carried himself with a great deal of confidence. Confidence with his teammates, and directing really the offense in a number of ways. There's a lot of things that he will tell you that he's got to continue to improve on, but there's a confidence that he carries with him that is starting to emanate, and that's going to only get better and better as he gains more confidence.
And then on the handoff, or what was supposed to have been a handoff to Bryant, what kind of happened there? Do you know?
Oh, sure, I know. I'd rather not tell you who went the wrong way. We're going to say that's a trick play.
Obviously, the atmosphere was great today. Home opener, fans were even wild during the pouring down rain. But next week, Michigan, what do you expect it to be like here? How much are your guys maybe already gearing up for that one?
Well, it counts the same as the Rice game. So we've already talked about, avoid the noise. We got a good locker room. The guys are focused on getting better. They know who they're playing. But it's not going to get them any more ready by being distracted. They got to focus on getting better. And, we'll stick to our routine and our preparation. And we'll let you all get excited about that game. But our guys they want to play, and it doesn't matter who they're playing. It's a pretty good group.
Brian, you mentioned wanting to not overcoach Everett. Is that easy to do, and did he show you something to sort of earn that in the last month that you could just let him go?
Yes, he knows how to protect himself relative to in the pocket. I think once I knew that he was not going to just take off and run, and that had to be earned. He didn't do a very good job in the spring game. I thought he showed a lack of discipline, and he's earned it through camp that we said, let's let you go play. And I think he earned that right for us to be able to give him that opportunity to get out there and make plays on the perimeter.
You touched on it a little bit, but just how much was on Joe Schmidt today without Austin at the back? I mean, how much did that amplify what he had to do?
He can't make the checks back on the back end, so it just put more on Elijah Shoemate and Max. But Joe can't do anything really back there. He's really taking care of the front and the calls.
And just lastly, I mean, you were adamant that your team was not going to be distracted by not having the 4 guys here today.
Five
guys. What did they show you today in that regard? What is sort of their resolve that wouldn't be a distraction to not have those guys?
It wasn't just today. They've shown this. They care about their teammates, and that's clear. But they also know that they're here at Notre Dame to get a degree and to play for Notre Dame and represent Notre Dame on the football field. So they've been really focused on their job and going out there and they've been really purposeful every single day. They haven't been a distracted group, and it says a lot about them. And I've got good leaders, and I've got young guys that have really followed the lead here. And like I told them, I was really proud of them today. I said, before we get into talking about the win, I just want to tell you that I'm proud of the way you've handled yourself, and that means a lot moving forward, because when your locker room's got that kind of resolve, good things are going to happen to you.
Brian, right here, you and the coaching staff have worked so hard during the offseason on punt return and kickoff return, and it certainly paid off today. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, you know, it was driven by personnel, and it was driven by, you know, again, wanting to improve in that area. I think we had 70-something yards in punt returns. I think we only had 100 and something the entire year last year. So I think we've improved there. We need to do it consistently. Cody Riggs was gassed, so we had to take him out. He hadn't played that much football at Florida, I think, in a couple of years. So, but Greg Bryant is fearless and does not know what a fair catch is. For all those people wondering why was he catching the ball, he came up with the "I can't hear you." My earplug is in. So we've got guys back there that are fearless, that will catch the football and stick their foot in the ground and get north and south. And that is absolutely crucial. And we have guys that are committed to covering people up. So we got the want-to and the resolve to do it, and we got to continue to do it.
Coach, in that same vein, how much does that help your offense when you're able to have that production, those hidden yards?
You saw the starting field position vis-a-vis special teams, and starting field position over the last couple of years was absolutely miserable. I mean, we were dealing with, you know, average starting field position somewhere in the 20s. Now when you're at the 40, 45-yard line, makes it a whole lot easier to control the flow of the football game. So special teams is going to be key in that. And that will help us, hidden yardage-wise, help us win football games. So we'll continue to work on that. We think we've got some good young players on those teams, and we've got a balance with veterans as well.
How did Jerron Jones hold up volume of play-wise, and Cage, too, in terms of spelling him?
We played Cage quite a bit. You know, I'll have to look at the film, but we were pretty solid inside. So my guess is I didn't hear a lot when I was in, you know, talking with the defensive coaches, in particular Coach Elston. They felt like the rotation inside was pretty good.
Brian, you talked about wanting to let the guys play a little bit, not overthink things. Is that going to be the message for this team throughout the year, or is that the game plan for a team that you match up athletically pretty well with?
No, I think we're going to have to bring our brain. I mean, we can't just run around. I mean, we're going to have to be better, you know, mentally. You know, we'll have to bring both. Today was more of a message of first game, let's not be out here and feeling our way through it. Let's go play. But no, we'll have to bring a complete game, and that is attention to detail. We'll have to know our game plan. We can't make some of the mistakes that we made today, and I think we will. But we needed to get some confidence today, and I think we got some confidence with some of our younger players, and we'll need to do a better job in some areas relative to communication.
You mentioned the 2 penalties, no interceptions, a pretty clean game for you guys. Was that maybe even cleaner than you might have expected for a season opener?
Well, you always go in wanting to be clean and not be sloppy. I can't remember a game that I only had 2 penalties for 10 yards. So I don't think I went in here with the expectations that we'd only have 2 false start penalties, and both of them were contributed by the quarterback not snapping the ball when he was supposed to. So really, I just didn't want it to be sloppy. I expected a few penalties. It was pretty clean.
And a quick personnel question. I think you had Hanratty in at guard instead of Hegarty. I think, was Hegarty injured, or is that a
No, that was a game time decision Harry made, and felt like he earned the start.
Over to your left, Coach. You alternated your running backs every series there, but kept them in throughout the series. Is that kind of the best of both world balance, where you allow them to get in a rhythm but also get their rest?
Yeah, we're trying to figure that out as well. So we don't have an exact science. I wish I could be that smart, but we're really trying to figure out, how to get them the carries that they all deserve, and also keep them in the flow of the game. So we're really trying to sort that and figure that out as well, because they're all deserving of carries. We all believe that they bring something to the game, and that's what we kind of felt like that was the best way to start this game and that process that you just outlined.
In the evolution of Everett Golson, a couple of years ago, it seemed there wasn't a confidence throwing over the middle. In addition to the long touchdown to Fuller, there were like 3 pass plays that gained 30 yards or so. How has that developed in his game too?
Just understanding his movement keys, understanding, what he's looking at. And when you start to understand defenses and your movement keys, you can start to rip the ball into areas where you're not normally throwing the football with that great deal of comfort. And you can see when the ball he threw to Corey, he was the 3rd receiver on that play, and that was a progression check that, he normally 2 years ago would never have thrown.
Coach, over here. You talked already about the balance you guys showed on offense. You had 14 yards apart, but you guys also spread the ball all around. Is that something that you kind of were wanting to establish, or was that just kind of a byproduct of how they played?
No, I think that, and I kind of alluded to it, I don't think we're going to have one particular guy that's going to eat up all the catches. I think that's what you're going to see, that the identity, if you will, of this team will be there's not one guy. It's going to spread all the way across the board. Everybody's going to get touches. You're going to have 3 running backs. You're going to have a couple of tight ends. You're going to have 4 or 5 wide receivers all catching footballs for us. We got guys that have speed. We've got guys that can catch the football. I mean, Will Fuller's going to take the top off of any defensive secondary. He's got elite speed. And, you got Chris Brown will catch the ball. Corey Robinson's a great matchup. So they all have different skills, but they all can help us in so many ways. So I think you'll see that as a consistent pattern across the board each and every week.